All right, everyone, welcome to a new month of planning. This is for really for any month, but this is a great time. I love not only a Monday, but a new month, and it's a time to restart, to refresh, to reset. So with this, we're going to be talking about a few things to set you up for this new month. But first off, what I want to do is review how your month, the previous month was. And the brain will often be like, oh, I just want to, forget about what happened and just start planning for the new month. But I'll give you a couple of journal prompts, and we're just taking around 3 to 5 minutes in reviewing last month, and then we're going to jump right into this month of planning. So looking back at the last month, what were some of your results and what were you proud of? What went well? So it may not be that you're proud, quote unquote proud, but what went well in the last month? So go ahead and spend some time jotting down. I'll give you like around a minute for this one. And you may not get everything. It's just to give yourself that opportunity when you're thinking of what went well. You can look in all areas of your life. So, not just health, but looking at learning, looking at relationships, looking at environment. So, really, anything, if you're in a career, looking at that. All right, now we'll move on to the second, which is what did not go well. So maybe you really fell short on a goal, or maybe you had the best of intentions at the beginning of the month and it just fell through because other things happened in your life. So just take some time to around a minute here, jot down, and again, look at all areas of your life, not just health, but home, relationships, finances, social interaction. Okay, and the last question, as far as reflecting on the previous month, is what do you want to do differently in the next month coming up? Now, don't worry about setting the goals, and we're going to do that next, but just if you look back at what went well, what worked, and what didn't work, what is it that you want to continue forward or do differently? Maybe there's something that you discovered that you're like, yeah, I'm definitely going to carry this forward. Or maybe you'll determine these are some things that I'm going to do differently. Maybe it's you're going to wake up at a different time, you're going to go to bed at a different time, you're going to focus on enjoying the last month of summer with different things, maybe different routines. So take a minute there. Okay. All right, now we're gonna get right into the new month. So we're either learning or growing. So it's easy to think back at the previous month and get discouraged, but it's a new month and you just it's a clean slate, move forward, and let's approach this in a way. What I'd like you, I love the mind map. So putting in the middle, you could put in the month, whatever the month is. Now, what I want you to do on the outside here is brainstorm things that you would like to, and we're doing this a little differently. Instead of picking, I'm going to challenge you to pick a few more than just one goal for the month of August. So when you're looking at this, think of what is doable in the month of August. What is something that if you really focused and you were really bold and you were really motivated, that you could accomplish by the end of the summer? So that, like a line and a bubble, it could be, and I'm just going to start, I'll give you ideas. Wake up at 6 a.m. Not saying that you need to do that, but maybe somebody is, that's going to be, I'm going to do that, let's say 5 days a week. Do a class 3 times a week. So go ahead and come up with some things, like, let's say, I'm going to put, say, $500. So you see, it's not going to be something that you're going to have to do every day, but just brainstorm, see if you can come up with 10 things. 10 things in all areas of your life. Dinner with friends. Friends 2 times, let's say. I'm putting out 2, 1, 2, 3. I'm putting 10 out here. Okay, so I'll go through the ones I have and maybe it will give you an idea. So these are not necessarily mine, but they're maybe versions or things that other people have been working on. So wake up at 6 a.m., 5 days a week, do a class 3 days a week, like a class, exercise class, lose 5 pounds, hold a bow, which is sort of, it's a Pilates where you're on your butt and you're holding like for 10 seconds. Walk 10,000 steps a day. Declutter the upstairs. Use my planner or use a planner every day or at the end of the day. So that could be a goal. Create the wellness code platform. dinner with friends 2 times, save $500. So it's first, we're just allowing our brain to come up with options. Like, instead of keeping like, oh, I don't know if I can really do this. I don't know if I can do more than one or two. For those of you who have been one or two goals, for those of you who have been in this program for a bit, maybe now is time to extend, to expand. But the key is expand the number of goals, but make them smaller and really doable. It's a little bit of a craft in that when I first started this approach, and I have 10 goals that I've set for the month. I cycle in and out of this. I don't do this every month. This month I do have 10 goals. If I'm not specific enough, if I just say, save money, I don't have a value. But if I say save $500, that's something at the end in August 31st, I can say to 31st, I can say to myself, I've reached it, or I've come close to reaching and saving the 500. So that's what I would recommend is, one, you don't have to do 10 goals, but if you do want to try this approach, the things to remember is to keep them, and you're welcome to share after I finish the coaching teaching here. Keep them small and keep them measurable. Because if I said dinner with friends, but I didn't say 2 times, and no, it's not a big thing if I don't reach that goal. If I'm out with friends 1 time this month, or maybe it's going to be 3 times. These goals, though, keep us, when you have something there, it keeps you very intentional during the day by day. And that's what I found is when I can choose, and when I pick 10 goals in the morning, I look at those goals and I say, what are the things I could do for each of them? It doesn't mean that I do something for each of them. I just let myself think of, okay, I'm going to do this. I could do this. I could do that. For each of the 10, I pick 3 of them that will be appropriate for the day and that really are needle movers. So this approach, when you go from, I have my goals, but they're very specific, and then every day I look at it and I say, okay, today's the day to work on the goal, yes or no, and what could I do, and what are those 3? And then keep it like, you don't want to have 10 huge things to do in a day, because we're human, we can't do that, but you can do 2 to 3. So that's where this approach, it's a little different than what we had been doing in some of the other months, where I just encourage you to pick 1 goal, because you can really hit a lot of areas of your life with all these multiple goals. And they should be, you could also, like, I had another couple of goals that there's some other ones I was thinking of. Write 50 pages of the book that I've been thinking of writing. So I could have that as a goal for this month. That would mean that some days I'm going to sit and try and write 5 pages or 1 page. I don't know, question mark, if that's going to really, I don't think that's going to be part of my 10 goals, because I'm in the midst of doing more for this program, so this digital program. What is another thing that I wanted to say with that? Then it's important also, when we look at planning the week, you can then look at, well, and when you review the week, so we'll do this every Monday, where we'll just take a little bit of time to look through our goals. So if 10 goals are too much for your brain, maybe pick 3 or 5. because again, 10 could be a stretch. You could have a goal of read 2 books. So that's a fun goal. Like some of these I know are not really fun. So make them fun. If you want to, for this month, maybe go to pick veggies or fruit, go to one of those farms one time. That is one goal that you can achieve. Going one time, you'll do it. Maybe it's a drive-in movie. Maybe you're going to go see a movie. So you can make whatever goal. The goal doesn't have to be super serious. So that's the other thing. You can have maybe one goal or 2 goals that are serious, like meaning really needle moving, serious. And the other ones, the other 2 or 3 could be more just enriching your life and making your life more fulfilled and self-care. Maybe there's something more about like doing face care at the end of the day. All these things. So there's just so many. So I'd love to hear what you're thinking of. So before we do that, so I want to make another suggestion. Pick 1 or 2 right now, or even just one goal. Have that in mind, okay? And I'm going to give you another 2 things, 2 questions. So when you have this goal in mind, which is like, so whatever your goal is, then one of the questions is, what tools will I use to help support me? What tools will I use? So let's say, I'm looking at which one I can use as an example here that would, okay. So let's say it's lose 5 pounds. I'm just using, that's the goal, okay? So what tools is track food, follow a nutrition plan. Some people are on a nutrition plan like Weight Watchers, or they have another plan that they've been using. Class, they're going to class. They're going to use this coaching call accountability. This is accountability every week to come to the coaching, get coaching if needed. The planner, planner, tracker, planner, routines. So those are tools. Those are like tangible tools that you're going to use to reach the goal. And, I was a little glitchy. I went in and out a bit. Okay. Second question to ask yourself, what thoughts am I going to, what are the main thoughts that will help me reach that goal? Thoughts. Because again, we have our creation cycle, which is our thoughts create the feeling, create the action. So what thought will help you achieve this goal of losing 5 pounds, or improving your sleep, or walking 10,000 steps, or improving a relationship? What thoughts is, so it just depends on it. So I'll give you a thought for the losing 5 pounds. I love the feeling of health. So I prioritize my health. I enjoy the energy when I am healthy. Okay. So that is just, you can just jot down a few different ones. One of them that I wrote down, and I did get it from another program or some connection. I take bold action while remaining open to miracles. And I really like that one. I take bold action while remaining open to miracles. Now, that doesn't necessarily go with the lose the 5 pounds. That's more for taking action, big decisions. I have a couple of thoughts that I have written down that will help support my goals. So what we did here is we looked at the goal. Well, we set the goal by looking at what do I want to achieve in the month. And it does take time to look at it, fine tune it. If you're like, oh, I don't know if I can, make it smaller. Make it smaller, because what you're doing is you're building this muscle for creating an intention and seeing it through. And then the next thing that you do is you want to make sure that you look at what are the tools that you're going to use to achieve that goal, that you're not just going to set it and forget it. You're going to really be intentional on what is it that I'm going to use. And then the thoughts, like what is the thought that for me to achieve this, what is the thought that I would have to have? Because if we're stuck or we're staying the same, it's because we've been thinking the same. So to make that change, changing our thoughts and our feelings towards what we want to do is a way to really help us achieve the goals. Now what I'm going to do is I'll stop the recording and I'll answer any questions you can come on.